welcome to the debut of Around the NBA. My name's Aaron. I'll be your host this evening. I'm joined alongside of Manny. Manny, how is your night going? Happy Sunday night.
Happy Monday morning to me, really, because it's
Yeah, well,
midnight past there, and my night was going good. Lakers didn't get the job done as expected because we played the Phoenix Suns and we were shorthanded, but other than that, night is going okay.
yeah. With our show, we cover around to give everybody an idea. Also, welcome everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday night safely, and hope you enjoyed the games that were on today. Not only do we sit here and cover the last game, which happened to be the Lakers and the Suns, but we also do cover the rest of the games around the league. We'll talk about it, and let's obviously start with the last game that ended, which was the Lakers and the Suns game. The Lakers lost 111-94. They're a Lakers team that's banged up on both sides. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They've had moments that it's tough in their situation that they've been in, and it was a tough loss against a great Phoenix team, man.
It was close in the first quarter and at the end, but then we just took our foot off the gas. And when I said in my keys to the game that we were supposed to hold them off from three, we did that. They shot 20% from three, but we didn't do any better. And bear with me, you guys. I'm about to unleash on my squad right now. We shot 20% from the 3-point line. Are you kidding me, Lakers? I don't care that LeBron and AD are out. Listen to how bad this is, Aaron. Markieff Morris, 0 for 2 from 3. Didn't even make one. Kyle Kuzma, 2 for 8. He shot 8 threes tonight. Okay, I don't care that he made 2. He shot 8 threes. If you're not making most majority of your threes, you gotta stop shooting threes. Go in the paint, drive, do something else. Dennis Schroeder didn't do bad. He shot 2 for 4 from 3. Wesley Matthews 0 for 3. Didn't make one like Markieff. KCP made 1 for 4. And then the bench basically went 0 for 4 from 3. Great night from 3, isn't it? But at least Schroeder and Harrell had a good game, and THT had a good game. But apart from the 3-point line, we tried our best, but it wasn't enough, in my opinion.
Yeah. We just, they just look very, they look the first half of that game wasn't bad. I mean, they hung in there. They even hung in there in the end of the game towards the end, but in the end of the day, 3-pointers are not going to necessarily win you the game, because when you shoot,
Exactly.
you know, when you shoot as bad as percentage as the Lakers did, you're not expected to win these kind of games, and especially with three of your main superstars out of the game. So it was a very rough game. Obviously, we touched earlier about Montrezl Harrell. Had a great game. Just a dominant guy for the Lakers. A good piece that they got in the off season, but unfortunately, in the end of the day, when you have an advantage that the Phoenix did, with only having one guy that was out for them, and it really wasn't a guy that's a big focal part of their team, they're gonna have an advantage, and that's how it is in the league. That's how it is playing against a great team. And the Suns are no joke. They could shoot, they could pass, they have everything they need. Also, shout out to Chris Paul, man. Another historic night for him, making another record. It just kind of keeps adding to his Hall of Fame book, Manny.
Oh, absolutely. Chris Paul is definitely one of the best point guards I've ever seen in my lifetime. He got drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, who are now the Pelicans. And we all know what happened. He could have been a Laker, but he wasn't. He ended up being on the other LA team. But then he went to the Rockets. Now he's with the Suns. I think like it's fair to say he finally found his home in the NBA. Just because I don't feel like he was comfortable in all the teams he's been in, even though he was great. But now with the Suns, he has a great supporting cast. I feel like now he has the shooting guard that he wants to play with. I know he played with James Harden, but James Harden, we all know, he's a bit of a crybaby. He's a bit of a cancer. like in the locker room. He is a great player, but I don't like his mentality in the NBA. But the thing is, Devin Booker has a great mentality in the NBA, and I'll talk about Devin Booker, what he did in this game.
Yeah.
26 points, 9 rebounds. He's a shooting guard. Shooting
Yeah.
guards are not known for rebounding the basketball as much, and he had 9. He basically looked like a power forward out there rebounding the basketball. And yeah, he didn't shoot great from 3, but we didn't either. But he shot 11 for 22, which is pretty much 50% from the field. It's not the worst game. It's pretty good actually. And Chris Paul, before, as I mentioned, he had a great game despite shooting 3 for 11. He had a triple double, having 11 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds, 13 assists. He just adds to his Hall of Fame book, like you said, Aaron. He has 10,000 assists now. He's only the 6th player in NBA history to do so. I feel like if he plays like a good 4 to 5 years more, he could definitely tie John Stockton's 13,000 for sure,
Oh
in my
yeah.
opinion.
Honestly though, he just keeps adding to his already Hall of Fame record. He was out there being Chris Paul, and you can't, no matter how much you try to stop him, he's still gonna hurt you in either way. Whether it's his scoring, whether it's his passing, whether it's him. He's one of the best point guards in the league to draw a foul. But the difference is, a lot of people like the James Harden and a lot of people, the other guards that like Curry, they draw it a harder way and they try and go for the hard contact. Chris Paul's more the old school guy, which I respect him more because
Hmm.
he just makes them play. He just makes you guard him. Like he makes you be on him, and he watches everything you do. And obviously, with the connection that he has with Schroeder, obviously they know each other. So I feel like obviously that was a little bit more of an advantage that he knew each other, Schroeder knew each other, and it just happened. Schroeder got in a little bit of foul trouble, and overall at the end of the day, the Lakers lost this game. And obviously the advantage to them was they were healthy and the Lakers were not. So let's get into the other teams around the West. Obviously, the Mavericks pulled off the biggest upset, I think, of the entire night. They absolutely hammered the Blazers, 132-92. Luka Doncic's been playing out of his mind. Like he just, I feel like he's just on a mission. Him and Lillard, those guys are just on a mission this year, right, Manny?
Oh, what is there to say about Luka? What is there to say about Luka Doncic? This guy is 21 years old and he's already like an MVP caliber player. Like I remember watching like LeBron James when I was younger at like 2021. I don't think he was this good at his age. Like I've told many people, and half people have agreed with me, and then the other half have disagreed with me on this. I said Luka Doncic is the face of the NBA when LeBron retires. Like he is that good. Let's talk about Luka for a second, actually. In only 30 minutes, this guy drops 37 points and 7 rebounds. He is so good. It's crazy. Like I know. Like and one thing I feel bad about him, Luka, is the fact that if Kristaps was healthy, like if he was healthy the majority of the season, I think Dallas would be like a top 4 seed. I said this, and I'm probably going to be wrong in the offseason that Dallas is meeting the Lakers in the conference finals. I'm probably going to be wrong now because Dallas is underperforming this year a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the other point guard that we all know by the watch there. Dame
Game
time.
time.
Dame time. Yep. 19
He's
points.
well.
Sorry about that.
You're
19
good.
points. 19 points. 4 rebounds and 1 steal. And the problem is with Damian Lillard is he's a great guard, probably one of the best in the league for sure, and hell underrated for many years. But the thing is, I just feel like he needs a second star in Portland, and then they can contend. Because no disrespect to CJ McCollum, but I don't think he's a good number 2. I think he's like a good number 3 if you think about it. Like no disrespect to CJ, but I just feel like Dame, he's wasting his years in Portland. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. He's he's doing what he can. He's going through his things where he's honestly been putting up numbers up that are unconscious. He dropped, what was it, a few games ago? He dropped 50 in the game, and he came back. Oh yeah, it was against the Pelicans,
Yeah, 50
and
points.
they were losing that game, and literally one guy just absolutely took over the game. Obviously, Carmelo's been Carmelo. I feel like obviously number one. I'm thrilled to keep seeing him in the league. I'm glad Portland gave him another opportunity.
Same.
It's just you can't have a LeBron. You can't have just LeBron in the game without having Melo along in the game as well, because of how much he means to the game. And I just think he's found a nice rhythm and a nice home in Portland. So he didn't do much in that game though. They probably missed his scoring a lot. He only grabbed 6 points in the game.
Mm.
Gary Trent Jr. though, and Little, those guys, Nazar Little, those guys, man, could shoot for Portland. Like, they're no joke. Obviously, Portland's been banged up with no Nurkic, and they're just kind of getting healthy again and getting their role with McCollum being back in the team. So I expect this Portland team I expect them to turn it around. They're 25-17, and I still expect good things from them to finish in the top five.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no disrespect to when I said before that that Damian Lillard needs to get out of Portland. I'm not calling Portland a bad team. I don't think they're a bad team at all. I just think they need one. I just think they need one more star. That's what I think. Because if you're a Blazer fan and you're watching this, I'm not calling your team bad or anything. I'm not. It's just you guys have injuries, and Lillard cannot. The team cannot rely on Dame. You have to rely on the other guys. Like you said, Gary. Like you mentioned, Gary Trent Jr., Nazir Little. These guys are above average basketball players. Nazir Little was what, like a top 20 pick last year, and this guy is very good. He's actually somebody that was possibly a steal in the draft. And yeah, I see your point, Aaron, on Jusuf Nurkic. He's one of the top big men in basketball, and they're missing his rebounding. They're missing his rim protecting. And also another guy too, Zach Collins. That's another guy who's a good power forward that can definitely get you buckets, get you boards, be a good rim protector. But honestly, like, kudos to Dallas that they're finally winning some games, because there's a lot of news in the NBA coming out that like Rick Carlisle somehow lost a team. He's not doing well as a coach, but I find that ridiculous what they're saying about Rick Carlisle. This guy won them the championship in 2011 and beat the Big Three Miami Heat. In my opinion, he's one of the best coaches in basketball. Like for all you analysts saying that, pump the brakes. He's still an above average coach. It's just he's dealing with Kristaps Porzingis injury, and it's the fact that Luka, you can't do everything all by himself. That's the problem.
Exactly. There's no one person on. You can't have your one superstar just carrying your team. You have to. In the NBA, it's called, I need to step up. Everybody needs to step up. Everybody needs to contribute here. That's the only way you're going to win any of these games. Let's get also in to some of the other games that were going on. Obviously, switching gears to the East a little bit. Bulls and the Bulls and the Pistons. That was 100-86, pretty one-sided there. Obviously, Chicago and Detroit kind of just looking at their own directions of looking towards the lottery and moving on. And obviously, we hope those teams are going to turn around. In the end of the day, it'd be good to see less of these teams taken around the league in the East and make the East and the West almost as competitive as each other.
Yeah, but the East, in my opinion, will always be inferior to the West. No disrespect to the East. I live on the East Coast, so
True.
I have to say, I have to be honest here. Like, the East will always be inferior, but the Bulls, it's the problem is with them is they don't have much leadership, in my opinion. I don't think they're really a bad team. Like, Zach LaVine, we know he's one of the premier guards in basketball. He's probably, in my opinion, a top 30 basketball player, in my opinion. I think he's top 30 in the NBA, in my opinion. He's not a bad guy. He had 18 points. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He even had a block in this game. I mean, I didn't really watch it, but one thing I can say is it looked good. And it's the fact that they have also their franchise power forward, in my opinion, too. Lauri Markkanen. How many NBA players have came out of Finland? Not many.
True.
I think he might be the first one.
I think he is. I think he is. I think he's the only one in
Probably.
the entire league. I don't think there's anybody. I mean, anybody that's in the comments, if you want to look, but I think he is the only guy that's come out of Finland before. So, hey, you know what? In the NBA, you make new traditions, and hey, you never know. It could be the start of more. So, we love it. But honestly, like, I love watching LaVine play. He's such a
Same.
dominant guard. Obviously, I hope Chicago keeps him locked up, because if they ever lose him, I feel like you're just kind of pushing things away a little bit more for the Bulls and their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know what Detroit did. They unloaded by getting rid of Blake Griffin as well, and they pretty much hosed out their team. They're looking in the other opposite direction of just cruising towards a newer fresh faces of the team, which is okay as well too, because Lakers went through that for a long time as well. And I think it just happens in periodically in the league where, whether it's money, whether it's decisions that players make, and it's just part of the league, and you're gonna have to suffer for a little bit. And unfortunately, it's tough to go through, but in the end of the day, there's gonna be a lot of, for Detroit and for a lot of the other teams in the East. There is hope, because obviously, as we know, March Madness is going on, and a lot of college stars shining right now, and
Yep.
a lot of good players eventually coming to this league. So this league is just going to keep taking off, and hopefully some of these young guys can start keeping everybody at the same high level of play.
But honestly, you're right about Detroit. Like they're just looking
Yeah.
at the draft, but in my opinion, they're playing it very smart. Like yes, you can say like, Detroit's not a good team. It's true, they're not a good team. But the thing is, they're playing smart. They're rebuilding. They know they're not going to win a championship. They got swept the last 2 years against the Bucks. Like they're not made to win a championship right now, and they're playing it smart. They unloaded Blake Griffin. Next, what they got to do is unload Jeremy Grant. Just get rid of all your veterans at this point. Go for the draft. There's this guy out of Oklahoma State. I don't know if you heard of him, Cade Cunningham. I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick this year. He's really, really good. Hope the Bulls get Alonzo. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Vince. I'm glad you brought that up, Vince. Yes,
Be a good fit. Honestly, I think it'd be great. Obviously, I think it'd be great for the Bulls, because they're adding another piece to help him out. And obviously those guys. I mean, honestly, Vince, you're right. Those two guys together would be terrific. I mean, they're two terrific guards, and I feel like they could feed off of each other well. You never know, though. I mean, obviously the trade deadline's coming around. And as a reminder, everybody's heard it again, but in case you didn't hear it before, we are doing an NBA trade deadline show. You're not going to want to miss it. And we're going to talk about everything related to any trades, anything that happens. And we're going to talk about the night before and the day of. So we're going to do a little bit of extra show and extra news as much as we can, and as much as it gets distributed to everybody. So we're going to know it at the same time as everybody else. But let's also mention about the Thunder and the Rockets. Unfortunately, obviously Thunder's playing decent. They got really nothing. They're not playing for a whole lot this year. But honestly, and the one stat I think Houston never wants to look forward to is 20th straight loss in their season, which is I definitely I feel bad for this organization, because if you're 11-30, you're 11-30 on the year, and I just feel like there's gonna be some changes that are gonna need to be made, and it doesn't look like the Rockets are going anywhere in the next few years.
Honestly, I still don't understand why they even traded for Victor Oladipo. Like, this is another team like the Pistons that are in full rebuild mode. They have nothing going for them. But actually, you know what? They have one guy that's a stud, in my opinion. Christian Wood. I think that's a young guy they need to build around, and they're doing a good job with that. He had 27 and 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. He's actually a very good player, and the fact that the Pistons didn't want to keep him, I don't understand that. Even one of my favorite YouTubers, who's a big Pistons fan, Crispy Flakes, he was pretty sad about that, and it's very understandable. But honestly, the fact that John Wall, don't be surprised, you guys, if he gets moved at the trade deadline or at the end of the season. Even though he has that bad contract, like I feel like a team like Miami would give him a nice trade package. But also about this game and everything I got to mention, and I'm very excited to mention it. You guys know I'm born and raised here in Montreal, and shout out to my boy Lou Dort. He killed it tonight. He had 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. He actually led the whole Thunder in scoring tonight. And I'm very happy to see that. Shout out to everybody in the comments and watching from my hometown of Montreal. This kid, we're very happy.
He gets score. He's been great. He's getting it. Obviously he's getting his minutes, man. Like he just puts up. He just can put up numbers. I mean, look, he's averaging for the Thunder. He's averaging 12 points this year. On 12 points, about 3.5 rebounds and an assist, and he's plus 150 right now. So the kid can score. I like seeing the younger guys like these guys just sit here and shine. And he's averaging great minutes, and he's getting in his expanded minutes that they've been giving him. He's been averaging actually a little bit close to 20 points or 21 points in the game. So, that says a lot. And when you're younger team like the Thunder are, obviously they have Gilgeous Alexander, who did not play in that game. So obviously that would have helped a lot to have him back, but they got it done without him. And this kid's going to keep on growing, man. He's got a great future.
Oh, Shea is amazing. Shot to Canada once again. Well, I mean, he's not from Montreal, but he's from Toronto. But still, he's really, really good. Let's talk a bit about Shea Gilgeous actually on this season. First of all, the fact that he wasn't even a top 10 pick in his draft, and he just came out of nowhere, and he's just such a good player. I remember that they stole him from the Clippers in that Paul George trade, and then he comes in the Thunder. His first full season in OKC, he averages 19 points and 6 rebounds. But this is his second year in OKC, and oh my God, he's averaging 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists on 51% shooting. Incredible stuff. We mentioned before Larry Markkinen that he's from Finland, and we mentioned now that Lou Dort and Shea from Canada. But the league is going so global, it's crazy. I remember when I was a kid, it was primarily the U.S. that was generating so much talent. Now it's all around the world. You can travel to Italy or China, and people are watching the game, they're playing the game, and it's just gotten so globalized. It makes me so happy to hear, because I'm not the only person outside the U.S. that loves basketball and loves the NBA.
Yeah. There's so many good talents, and it's been really great to see. And it's just going to keep getting better and better. So let's look at another game. I mean, obviously a shocker for a lot of teams. Back to the West a little bit more is Denver and the Pelicans, man. Denver lost this game 113-108. A little bit of a shocker for everybody, obviously, but gotta mention one big former Laker who's, I think, found a perfect home, and I think everybody that's a Lakers fan is thrilled that they traded him here. That's Brandon Ingram. I know, obviously, Manny, one of your favorite guys. That dude's putting up numbers, and he's getting, look at it, he's getting 36 minutes a game, 36 to 40 minutes a game. Exactly what I knew he would get as soon as this trade worked out. This trade worked out for everybody. It worked out for Alonzo. It worked out for Brandon Ingram. It worked out for Josh Hart. They just clicked there, man. They just got a great piece.
I am so happy for my former Laker young core. Honestly, listen to how crazy Brandon Ingram is. We know he averaged 18 points in his final year as a Laker, but let me look at his stats for New Orleans. His first year with the Pelicans, he averages 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And this year is doing the exact same thing, but on better efficiency. That's what's even crazier. The other year, he averaged 45% from the field. Now he's averaging 47% from the field. It went up. Yeah, I know it went up 2%, but his efficiency is getting better. And the fact that he's playing and he has he's a great number two in my opinion to Zion. Like, yes, we know Zion is only his second year in the NBA, but Brandon Ingram just complements him so well. Like, there's not many players in the NBA that like complement each other this well, and Ingram and Zion really do. I don't know how they're struggling this year. Like, the fact that they're 18 and 24, I think their team is better than their record, like, hands down. And the fact that Steven Adams as well, he had 13 rebounds, great center from the Thunder, and they got in that trade in the offseason. And also, to mention Canada once again, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. This guy apparently plays as the bench guy, but he started this game. He averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And Josh Hart, like you mentioned before, another former Laker. Off the bench, he averages 12, 9, and 6. He actually was close to flirting with a triple-double. Very close. And I'm very encouraged about that.
Yeah. Honestly, it's good to see these guys. I'm glad that they really found a home there. And, obviously let's talk about the Nuggets too, because Nuggets are obviously up there 25 and 17. They got basically 3 powers on that team. Obviously they got Porter Jr., the Joker, and Jamal Murray. And those guys in general have been putting up great numbers this year. They've started off good. They just continue to just keep shining. Obviously, they lost in the end of the day, they lost to the better team, and that was the Pelicans tonight. But I mean, their Joker's just on a roll this year.
In my opinion, he's been on a roll almost every year he's been in the NBA. It's absolutely insane. And you want to hear how crazy this is? He was a second-round pick. How many second-round picks in the NBA became like superstars? Not all-stars, superstars. Because Nikola Jokic is just a superstar. I think he's the best. I think he's the best center in the NBA. And listen to how crazy this is. His passing is something that I have never seen from a center. Like, he's averaging 9 assists as a centerman. When have you ever seen that in the NBA? I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. And the fact that he gets triple doubles like nothing. He basically plays like a point guard. He's 7 foot tall, but he plays like a 6'6" point guard. It's crazy. Yeah. And the fact that I mentioned Canada once again. Jamal Murray from Toronto. Him as well. We saw how well he played last year in the bubble in the playoffs, and this year he's going at it again. Last game he played against Chicago, 34 points. And you want to hear how many steals this guy had? He had 4 steals. Insane stuff.
He's putting up numbers, and I'm not worried about the Nuggets. They're gonna still be there. They're gonna still be in contention. Let's go back to the East a little bit. Obviously, we're just slowly wrapping up here. So, obviously, Magic and the Celtics. Celtics won that game 112-96, pretty handily. Yes, they're in an LA fan perspective. It's not exciting to see them win. The Magic's not really going anywhere. I'm not too worried about this. They're in the process of the same thing as Houston. They're trying to rebuild. They still have some young pieces there. They obviously got a guy named Michael Carter Williams, and he's going to be their future guy for them as well. They also obviously Aaron Gordon is big for them, but I feel like that team eventually is going to be irrelevant again. It's been a while, but you know what they say. It comes around, and when the right opportunity hits for this Magic's team, I think they're going to be okay as well.
Honestly, shout out if you're a Magic fan. Like, you have to be a very loyal fan if you like the Magic. I can't remember the last time they were good. I think the last time they were good was when we faced them in the finals in 2009. I think that was the last time they were a good team. But honestly, to talk about the Magic a little bit, Vucevic, this guy is insane. Like I think he should get traded to a contender. He's that good of a center. And the fact that I still don't understand what the draft pick was of Mo Bamba, because like yes, I know he's younger, but he barely gets playing time as a game, because I have League Pass. Like when Lakers aren't playing, I usually watch these other games, and I see that like Mo Bamba doesn't get many minutes, and you see like Vucevic is just playing the most minutes as a 30-year-old. And nothing against Vucevic. I just think he doesn't belong in Orlando, because Orlando is not his timeline, in my opinion. And also the same goes for Evan Fournier. He's he's one of the best like shooting guards off the bench, in my opinion. I know he starts for them, but like, can you imagine if Evan Fournier went to a contender? He would help them tremendously, in my opinion. Like he's basically like in my opinion a younger JJ Redick. He can just snipe it from the three, catch fire, and then just get a bunch of Irish spring greens, as how I say it.
Yeah, I mean, they honestly though, at the end of the day, they got some good pieces there. Um, he's a great scorer as well. Obviously, they're gonna be. I hope to see the Magic irrelevant. Yes, I will even
Same.
say, shout outs to the people that are Magic fan, do support this team, because every team's gonna go through something, and Laker fans went through it for a long time.
6 years.
Clipper fans went through the longest drought of any LA team with not being any irrelevance at all. But they are the Clippers. But obviously, let's also mention about before we wrap things up here. Obviously, Wizards, Nets, and Nets have been banged up too. Don't get me wrong here. Lakers are not the only teams that's been dealing with injuries. Brooklyn's been dealing with injuries, and they got Blake Griffin back today. Today was his first game. Honestly, it's good to see him back. When he's healthy. Obviously, everybody knows what he could do, and it's good to see him back, kind of with his boy DJ.
Oh, absolutely. They had great chemistry together on the Clippers. As much as I despise the Clippers, they had great chemistry when there was the days of Lob City with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul. But like, I have a feeling DeAndre Jordan had something to do with that signing, just because like he wanted his boy back. And I didn't watch like the this game, but I saw highlights, and Blake Griffin dunked. He actually dunked in the game, which was actually nice to see, because I don't think I've seen him dunk in a game since like 2 years maybe. But yeah, like I like how you mentioned that Brooklyn was banged up. Like they don't have KD still. He's still out with an injury, and that gives a lot of pressure to Harden and Irving, in my opinion. But to talk about the other team in this game, the Wizards, they're in the same boat as the Pistons and as the Rockets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They want to rebuild. I think they should trade Westbrook. I actually, as much as I hate the Celtics, I said on Twitter that the Westbrook should go to Boston, because I feel like it would be a great 1, 2, and 3 with Westbrook, Brown, and Tatum. So if Wizards can pull that off and they get a bunch of draft picks for him, it could speed up their rebuild. And I think they should really build in front of with their draft pick Rui Hachimura. He had 20 points and 10 rebounds, and when we said the NBA is going global, when have you heard
Yeah.
of an NBA player coming from Japan?
Been a while.
For
It's
real.
been a it's been a long time. Um, they're yes, the Wizards are in the same they're in the same place as the other teams as well. And it's Westbrook's actually been doing well this year. His numbers are up a little bit more. And he's looked healthy, which is something, unfortunately, like for Rockets fans, when they had Westbrook and they had Harden together, Westbrook just did not look healthy. Did not seem like. I think it kind of just went on from his last year with the Thunder to also, or last year, I should say, last full year with the Thunder, and then going into the middle of the season where he gets traded. I feel like that he just never really could pick up, where his health should be. And I think he's finally got a rhythm here going.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's looking a lot better right now in Washington. Yeah, I know he was banged up. I like how you mentioned that. But he's still the same old Westbrook. I know he's not never been the best shooter in the league. That's a lot of people, analysts knock him for that. But he's still getting his triple doubles. He had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, and 2 steals. And I feel like he can help a contender very well. He just does not fit with the Wizards timeline. And I don't. I still, even in the offseason when I saw that the Wizards traded for Westbrook, in my head I was like, why? Like that doesn't make any sense. And another trade rumor that I want to say that makes absolutely no sense. I saw it today on the NBA Central Twitter page. Victor Oladipo to the Detroit Pistons. I don't see that making sense at all. Like, why would you want to take a flyer on him just to be like an 11 seed or a 10 seed when you just can stay as the 15 seed? The Pistons are the 15 seed in the East, and just go for the lottery. Go for Cade Cunningham. Go for Evan Mobley. Go for Jonathan Kuminga. Like, I don't get that at all. Like, if Detroit does that, I'd say like fire the whole front office. Like, you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Oh yeah. Obviously, if they're going in that direction, then it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like you're trying, obviously, same situation with the Lakers when people said, why are they winning all these games when they're trying to win the lottery? And it's like, well, obviously, you have to like to see the win, and you get it that they want to try and help. But at this point, like, if you wanted to try and have a winning season, you should have fixed things around within your first month at the latest of the season.
Exactly.
Because now I feel like, as they say, is they screwed the pooch a little bit, and
Hmm.
they're in a bad spot, and there's not going to be, the people, if they try and get anybody to come over here, most of the time these players are going to say, you know, I get it, like, the no disrespect to your franchise, but you're in a bad spot right now, and I just rather would be released and just say, you know what, if I get picked up, I get picked up. If not, you know what, just take the rest of the season off and just get myself right and be healthy. And I expect, that's how things should be around the league. They don't,
Hmm.
people, if you're going to go that route and people want to try and make trades, unnecessary trades at that point. The best thing that Detroit did is start fishing away their players and fishing away Griffin, because they weren't going to go anywhere. And, obviously, with Houston's situation as well, with John Wall, I wouldn't be surprised, for instance, if he gets thrown in the mix as well, and Oladipo, because, they're not going anywhere. And when you've lost 20 games in a row, what more do you need to just say, hey, look, maybe if you're not going to trade me, just buy me out because I want to be released, and just call it a day and let me choose where I want to go. Who knows? Maybe Oladipo can end up somewhere in the West. Maybe he can end up somewhere on the East. Maybe even New York, because obviously you got to mention the Knicks, man.
Hmm.
They're doing great, and it is so nice to see the Knicks irrelevant, because at least that way those New York fans have something to celebrate. Not only do the Brooklyn fans have something to celebrate. So, it's good to see. It's good to see the Knicks going at it, and obviously Julius Randle, man, just having a great season, great guy, and he's just putting up some great numbers as well this year.
Oh my God, the Knicks are really surprising all of us, and I am so happy to see that. Like, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm very happy to see the Knicks do so well because, like the Orlando Magic, like the Detroit Pistons, they've been just a suffering, laughable franchise. And to see them actually compete and possibly making the playoffs this year, I'm not saying they will, but maybe they will. Honestly, like Julius Randle, another former Laker young core player, he's an All Star this year, and also as a center that I wanted the Lakers to take back in the 2018 draft. I don't know why we didn't take him. We should have. Mitchell Robinson. This guy is amazing. I love Mitchell Robinson. And yeah, like I see why we took Mo Wagner in that draft because we wanted to add depth. But Mitchell Robinson is like he's just so good. Like I know he doesn't score very much, but if you look at the fact that his field goal percentage is just absurd. It's absolutely absurd, Aaron. Like
Yeah.
listen to the last 3 years he played in the NBA. His field goal percentages. 69%, 74%, 66%. That's crazy. That is
That's
absolutely
crazy.
crazy.
That's crazy. It's incredible, honestly. It just shows, percentages are percentages, and you're just gonna shoot lights out. That's how it is. Um, we are just about wrapping up here on our show. Obviously, we'll touch on the Raptors and the Cavs game. Obviously, with Canada, got to finish off the show with the Toronto Raptors here. So they lost 116 to 105, obviously, to a Cleveland team that's kind of looking in the same direction. With obviously the speculation of Andre Drummond, which we'll talk about more on the trade deadline show. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Cleveland's doing what they can. I mean, they have a great piece in JaVale McGee. Obviously, they got some good pieces as well. But they've been banged up as well as too. So they haven't been fully 100% either.
Yep, they have not.
Yeah.
I a few weeks ago they announced that Kevin Love, they're not gonna be playing him anymore because they're gonna go full on rebuild, which they should have. I think they should have traded Kevin Love to the Nuggets in the offseason. I don't know why they didn't do that, but if you're gonna get rid of him now, good job. And Andre Drummond, he will get bought out or he will be traded. I feel like it's one of those two. If the Cavs can't get at least a second for him, they're gonna waive him, and I think it's either gonna be. Hold on a second. My possibly our Lakers, maybe the Celtics, maybe the Hornets, and possibly the New York Knicks. I think it's going to be between those teams in my opinion. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's my prediction. If he gets bought out or traded, it's going to be one of those teams I named. And Cleveland is doing it right as well, rebuilding. They have a great young core. Who would have thought after losing LeBron like 3 years ago that that they would have actually developed such a nice young core of Colin Sexton, who dropped 36 points, Darius Garland, and they even have another Laker young core player. I feel like our young core player is like bounced around all over the league. I mean, this guy just stayed where he was when he left. Larry Nance Jr., another guy we all remember here as Laker fans. The dunks he used to do at Staples Center were absolutely crazy. And
Oh yeah.
he's found a nice home here in Cleveland, 10.7 assists. And also, they got also a very nice young piece as well. Who knows what they're going to do in the offseason, if they're gonna match him or if they're going to re-announce him. Jared Allen. That's the guy I'm
Yes.
talking about. I don't know why Brooklyn didn't keep him. I would have traded DeAndre Jordan if I was them. I would have traded DeAndre Jordan and built it around Jared Allen with along with KD, Harden, and Kyrie.
Yeah. Obviously, shout out to our boy JVL McGee, who's on that team as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's not. I mean, he's not obviously doing a whole lot. He's not playing a ton of minutes. I think slowly you're looking at he's looking at towards the end of his career a little bit more. As he's getting older, and I feel like he's just accepted that. I'm not playing a lot of minutes right now. This team is more of a, young develop. Let me help out where I can. And that's all he could be. So you never know if JaVale McGee, if they end up getting rid of him as well and figuring out what they want to do and go about with the rest of their team, because they got some great pieces. Also, Quinn Cook is over there too,
Mm-hmm.
former Laker, and they just have some good pieces. So I expect them to be a little bit more relevant in a few years from now. Obviously, I feel like when the draft comes around, you're gonna have more pieces to choose from. But let's talk about the Raptors here, because obviously we know this. The Raptors team hasn't changed too much since they've won their championship. They haven't
Mm-hmm.
lost a lot of pieces, but I mean obviously they have within losing Kawhi and another big piece of their team. So obviously Kyle Lowry, and Van Fleet, those guys right there, and Ananobi. Those are three of their guys that just the three out of the rest of their team, they could just give you shooting. Like they just can shoot nonstop.
Oh, absolutely. And then I mentioned I live in Canada, so I know
Yep.
all about the Raptors. They have a great team. Kyle Lowry is the heart and soul of Toronto, and I think he should get his jersey retired. They should get him a statue In my opinion, he is the greatest player in Raptors history. And if he leaves in the trade deadline, because I'm hearing there's a lot of teams that are interested in trading for him. I think Philly's in the mix, Miami's in the mix, and maybe even the Clippers are in the mix. I think there's those three teams that might look at him. I don't know if he'll get traded, but if he does, he's done a lot for the city. He's done a lot for this country. And Fred VanVleet, if Kyle Lowry gets traded, like Fred VanVleet, in my opinion, will be the starting point guard, and he will be the starting like guard, like the starring guard of that team. And another thing as well, another Montreal native, Chris Boucher. I grew up about 7 minutes from Chris Boucher. He's a great player. He started off in the G League with the Golden State Warriors at the start of his career. Then Toronto just stole him out of nowhere in the free agency. Won a championship with him in his first full season. He won his NBA championship, and he's been great. I know he didn't look that good tonight, but the other nights he had 16 points against Utah. Detroit he had 21. Chicago he had 17, and against Charlotte he had 16 and 6. He is a phenomenal player, undrafted, and there's so much talent coming from Canada. It's crazy.
Yeah. Talent, honestly, to summarize this, talent has been everywhere this year. Yeah, throughout Canada and throughout the whole NBA. There's different pieces, whether it's outside the US, whether it's Canada, whether it's playing in the Euro leagues, no matter where it is, there's been great pieces obviously within the NBA this year. A lot of great young guards, and I think that was a great show. So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. For our debut around the NBA. You will catch this again soon. For Manny, for myself, I am Aaron. And have a great night, everybody. And we will catch you again soon. Take care, everybody.
Peace.